Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another video by Aces High. I'm super excited about this one. It's a little bit off topic of I guess what we've been watching recently, but it's more about the Queen. So I watched the life and death of Prince Philip. I watched the Queen Elizabeth's coronation from 1953. And now I'm going to watch a little bit more about the Queen because some of you guys have recommended it, and I'm honestly kind of intrigued. I don't know why I'm so intrigued because she's not even my queen, but as an American, but I'm kind of having fun with it. So today I'm actually watching a video titled "What Powers Does the Queen of England Actually Have?" and it's a video by Today I Found Out. Um, yeah, it seems like this is a pretty solid channel, so if you guys haven't checked it out, go down to the description and check out the link on the original video. But I'm really excited to see what she actually has, because before I watched these videos and before I read all your guys' comments, I thought the Queen of England was just kind of a figurehead, didn't really have any power. But turns out she actually, like you guys have told me, she can fire the prime minister. Somebody told me that she is the only one that can declare war officially. Things like that. So like I'm excited to really see what power she has. Anyway, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna shut up. Make sure you hit that sub button, ring the bell, and let's get started.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Our YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at what powers the Queen of England actually has. And just before we get started, I do want to say that this video is brought to you by TunnelBear. TunnelBear is a simple privacy app that makes it easy to enjoy a more open internet. It's available for iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac. Start your free trial today at tunnelbear.com/brainfood.
All right. I'm excited for this. I
So
really
a short while ago, we put out a video about the fact that Queen Elizabeth II neither needs a passport nor a driving license, thanks to a quirk of British law. But what other powers does the Queen of many titles have, and what could she theoretically do if she decided to flex the full might of the authority that she wields? As it turns out, thanks to the royal prerogative, a terrifying amount if she really felt like it, or at least that's assuming Parliament went by the letter of the law and that the people didn't decide to stage a small revolt. In reality, the Queen...
See, that's what blows me away. Like I said, I always thought that she was kind of a figurehead, but if she really has that much power, that just impresses me. I guess she just doesn't use it too much, but yeah.
rarely exerts even a fraction of the power that she theoretically wields, as it's kept in check by the only person in the UK who can tell her what to do, and that's herself. This is very much a calculated move on her part in order to stay in the good graces of her subjects. She also voluntarily pays her taxes, even though she's not technically obligated to, and that helps with people's opinion of her.
See, that's a big thing. A lot of leaders, at least several leaders around the world, will actually pay their taxes. They'll do things that the common people are doing, but it's not required of them, just because it builds up so much public opinion. It makes people happy. Hey, celebrities, they're just like us. That type of thing, That's probably a really good move, honestly.
Not only does she avoid openly flexing her political might, she also tends to keep her opinions outside of the public sphere. As historian Frank Prohaska notes, the real secret of royal influence is saying nothing. And anything the Queen does say publicly is pretty anodyne. The minute a monarch or many of the royals say anything remotely political or opinionated, they alienate people and they lose some power. This silence played a large part in how the British monarchy survived post-World War I, when other European royal families didn't. In fact, for nearly 2 decades now, the monarchy has regularly had polls run and focus groups put together to keep track of how the general public feels about them and their various actions.
I've got a question for anybody who I guess is British, English. How do you feel about the royal family? Do you think that you guys still need it? Do you not? I mean, I guess maybe not need, but do you want a royal family? Some type of monarchy? Let me know in the comments.
They also have on payroll individuals whose job it is to ensure the Queen stays in the public eye and in a way that is most likely to endear her to her subjects. Similar to politicians who rely on the voting public, with each public change she presents, right down to the carrying of a cell phone or not, carefully calculated in terms of the impact it might have. While this may seem only self-serving, the Queen has a very lengthy track record as an admirable public servant and is also acutely aware that she is a prominent public face representing her subjects, so is keen on avoiding being viewed in a bad light, lest she in turn paints them in a bad light by her actions. As she noted...
Really? That's it. That's an interesting take. Sorry, I didn't want to pause it mid-sentence, but the queen that they showed just a second ago, I'm sure that's Queen Elizabeth. I know it sounds ridiculous to say it's not, but she just looked a little different. Maybe she was just younger or something, or maybe it's just an odd angle, but she just looked a little different than the pictures I've seen.
At the tender age of 21 in a speech to the Commonwealth she gave on her birthday. I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family, to which we all belong.
That's awesome.
Surprisingly, for many years, the full extent of exactly what powers the Queen handed off to the government, but technically retained, weren't publicly known. That is, until 2003, when the government released a partial list of the things it can do on the Queen's behalf. For the most part, the list confirms that the government could do things to save the Queen time, such as issue or revoke passports, which simply wouldn't be a feasible thing to be the sole prerogative of the Crown in a modern society. However, some were actually slightly worried by some of the things she could do, like declare war, which under rules of royal prerogative can be done without consulting Parliament. On top of that, the Queen is totally immune from prosecution and is considered above the law in the UK. And further, as a head of state,
what about if she turns around and, I don't know, does like something insanely crazy? Is she really, I guess she can't arrest the Queen. Yeah, now it makes me think about the president. Can you arrest the president? I mean, you can impeach him, but you can't impeach the Queen, right? You can have a coup or something, but I don't know, it's interesting.
she also enjoys diplomatic immunity in any foreign country she happens to visit. As such, she can commit any crime conceivable anywhere on Earth, at least as the law currently stands, and suffer no legal consequences for doing so. However, as with everything else, she's generally exceptionally careful to ensure that she doesn't break any laws. Of course, what she does in private is completely her own affair, despite her prominent political position, as she is exempt from freedom of information requests. So, moving on, because technically speaking the people of Britain are not citizens but subjects of the monarch, she could have anyone she wanted arrested and presumably seize their property or land for the crown. Speaking of which, the Queen owns all of the seabeds around the UK and can commandeer any ship found in British waters for service to the realm. Oddly enough, she also has first dibs on any whales that wash up on shore. The Queen could also...
Does anybody know the first dibs on whales type of thing? Like, where would that come into play? Was that because of what do they call the stuff that sperm whales have to like vomit that they use in perfumes and stuff? Was it amber glass? I think it is amber gassed. Does that have to do with that, or is it because of like back in whaling days, whale oil? Or I don't know if they do anything with blubber. Maybe they melt it down into oil. I really don't know, but it has to be something from that, right? And it's just a law that hasn't gone away.
Administer any manner of punishment to an individual who offended or otherwise displeased her, as the Crown has prerogative power to keep the peace within the realm. And since she's immune from prosecution, nobody could really do anything if this punishment wasn't entirely within the scope of the law.
Really?
If the government tried to stop her, the Queen could decimate the British political landscape by dissolving Parliament and appointing anyone she felt like as Prime Minister. This is...
So if she decided to, she could turn around and stone somebody, or I guess guillotine, or whatever you would call that, or something like that. That's incredible. The firing squad. I don't know if they still do that anywhere really, but yeah. I mean, not that she would, but that's a lot of power.
This is because it's the Queen's duty to appoint the Prime Minister, and she could, in theory, appoint anyone she wanted to the position, regardless of the way the British public voted in an election.
One of you guys told me
that. In the event the Queen didn't like the outcome of an election, for instance, if she didn't like the replacement Parliament members that were voted in, she could just call for another one using royal prerogative until she got the Parliament she wanted. Not that she'd need to, because if she really wanted, she'd just bring in the army to keep everyone in line. But how does that work? How does she control the army? Well, that's because the Queen is also the commander-in-chief of the entire British military, with every officer, soldier, sailor, and pilot swearing allegiance to the Crown and nobody else.
Somebody told me that. I want to say it was during her coronation video. I commented that that all the troops were from Australia, all that, just every place that serves under the crown were swearing to her. And somebody told me she's the commander-in-chief of the military, and that just... I guess that makes sense. The president is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, so it makes total sense. I never thought about her that way.
They're not called Her Majesty's Armed Forces for nothing.
True.
Being considered the ultimate authority on all British military matters, the Queen could authorize a nuclear strike on France or make North Korea an ally, as she has the power to declare both war and peace with foreign nations. As for laws, well, technically the Queen can't create new laws, she can only sign them into law after they've been decided upon by Parliament. In fact, her royal assent is required to make the law official after being passed by Parliament in the first place. She could appoint ministers who'd make any laws she wanted a reality and then just sign them into law that way. Beyond royal assent, there's also the Queen's consent, which requires she give her consent before any law that affects the interests of the monarchy can even be discussed at all in Parliament. She actually has used this power before, such as in 1999 when she refused to allow the discussion of a bill that would have given Parliament power to authorize military strikes in Iraq instead of needing her authorization.
Wow.
So, well,
that's interesting. So that's it. Listen, mad respect for her. Because some could say that she was just trying to keep her power, but on the other side of it, it could be that she doesn't want other people to have the power to drop a nuke on somebody. That's what I want to believe. And although it's a lot of responsibility, she wants to be the only one that can authorize that. You know?
Well, that's all on the political side, but it doesn't stop here. The Queen technically has a sort of power not only over her subjects' physical beings, but also their souls. Well, how? Well, that's because she's also the head of the Church of England, including having the power to appoint archbishops and power over many other such matters concerning the Church. As for most of these powers that technically allow her to rule with an iron fist, as previously mentioned, the Queen is hesitant to ever use them in such a way that would displease her subjects, and certainly isn't about to disregard their representatives in Parliament. However, these powers still exist for a variety of reasons, including potentially being needed in times of extreme crisis. That said, just because she isn't in the practice of exercising her powers against the will of the people, it doesn't mean she isn't occasionally an active political powerhouse in private. Extremely well respected and known worldwide with the ability to bend the ear of most heads of state, the influence the Queen wields is difficult to quantify, but, as noted in an article discussing why the BBC named the Queen the most powerful woman in the world in their list of 100 most powerful women, Her Majesty's power is more about influence. A discreet nod of the head, a polite word in the ear of a Prime Minister at their weekly meeting, or a strategic patronage of a cause being overlooked by the government is how she can indirectly affect our world without us even knowing. Well, to conclude, the Queen has many powers she could theoretically legally use to her own ends unless her subjects and Parliament simply decided to stage a revolution. However, she generally avoids doing anything overt that might upset her subjects and otherwise simply works in the background, more or less in an advisory role when she feels there is a need. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Now, if you are interested in protecting your privacy online, well, then you really should have a VPN. Now, VPNs are something you might have heard of. They are simple tools that have become a must.
Alright, it looks like the rest of this video is actually just an ad, so let's talk about that, you guys. She actually has an incredible amount of power, she just chooses not to exert it. That's crazy too, because I don't speak for all Americans, but when I talk to most Americans, I would say that most of them think that she's just kind of a figurehead at this point, and they go, like, I talked to my father, and he says, I've had this conversation where he will go, yeah, she's just kind of a figurehead, Parliament has the power, the Prime Minister, all that, but that's not necessarily the case. I mean, I know it's a mixture of the power, but she is the ultimate powerhead, which is just very interesting, you know? It's not what I thought I'd be walking into with this video. Also, the fact that she blocked others from being able to drop nuclear bombs, that's just incredible. I still think it's because she didn't want anybody else to have that chance, you know? Not because she wanted to keep it for herself, but because she didn't want it to happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I think she's a really nice lady. I'm not sure. You know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And tomorrow we are going to be moving on to our next series. It is a surprise, but I'll give you a hint. It's either going to be something having to do with the Romans and Caesar, or it's going to be something having to do with Russian history. So one of those two is going to be our next series. Anyway, till next time, hope you guys loved it. This is Aces High, and I'm out.